Hello, Walls. And that's our guest, Faron Young.
See, Willie wrote this song before we got kicked out of the session.
Now, look, this lady called Martha from here in Nashville. She won't know why you got kicked out of Willie Nelson's recording
Well,
session.
see, now, Mike Hyde, I love the way nobody will let a lie stand in the way of a good story. It didn't really happen that way. Because Willie was just getting started, and I think he was on 5 more labels after this particular label he was cutting for and went in. And the producer, we just walked in the studio, and it was in the middle of the song, and Willie stopped. Said, "Hey, Sheriff, how you doing?" Well, that didn't tickle this producer at all. We said, "Oh, nothing. Just come here to have a beer with you and talk." So we just sitting around rattling. Well, I didn't know what was going on. And finally the guy came out and said, "Look, if you guys are costing us money," said, "why don't y'all go out and sit by the cigarette machines and talk so we can do this?" And I said, "Oh, my Lord, we're going to get kicked out of a Willie Nelson session." I thought it was funny. So he's done made it up like the guy come out and raised hell and throw it aside. That ain't what happened. Really, it ain't. And as far as Willie, if I'd have just said, "No, we're going to stay," Willie would have just stopped right there anyway. So that's the true story, folks.
You really didn't get kicked out.
No, continued tomorrow, same time.
All right, we're visiting with Faron. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. She's over in South Haven, Mississippi, listening to WMPS. Go ahead, Noreen.
Oh, hello there.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, Chuck. How are you?
I'm all right.
Oh, how's Faron Young?
Faron Young is doing fantastic. You listen to one of my favorite radio stations down there in Memphis.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How do you stay so young?
I'll tell you the truth. I'm a vitamin freak.
Sound great.
I take vitamins and
share the same birthday of the same year and the same day, practically the same minute we entered this world.
Really?
I'm just an old broken down thing, and you're just still so young and putting out good records. And
well, aren't you sweet? I'm one day older than Johnny Cash. I'm one day older than Elizabeth Taylor. And they're both uglier than me.
Yeah, they sure are.
I'm only kidding with you. Now, I tell you what, I exercise, I work real hard, and I work around my yard, and I like to get out on my tractor, and I'm very conscious about my vitamins and my health foods that I take.
Well, I'm so glad, because it really shows. You look great. I saw you on TV. Of course, it was pre-taped a couple of months on...
And I don't wear any makeup either.
You don't?
No way.
Oh, what about a new record? Have you got something new coming out?
I haven't recorded in a little over a year. I got tired of recording because every time I'd make a record and put it out, the record company wouldn't distribute it enough.
Really?
By the time I'd spend $3,000 or $4,000 getting the record up in the charts, then nobody could buy it.
Oh.
But I tell all my fans around the world to call Ernest Tubb or to Conway Twitter's record shop. I was talking to Conway the other day, and he told me, he said, "You're our biggest mail order business."
Really?
And the reason that is that's the only place you can buy my records. So I just quit. I said, "I'll wait a while, and I'll get with a label that wants to work with me, and we'll go back in the record business
Well,
again."
I sure hope it's soon, because I miss you.
Well, that's beautiful,
I was crazy enough back in the 50s to travel all the way to Shreveport to see you one time.
Well, bless your heart. We'll come see you before long, and thank you for asking me to record again.
If you ain't loving.
You ain't living. You got that right.
We'll do it. Noreen, we appreciate you calling.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. If you ain't living, you ain't loving. Or if you ain't loving, you ain't living. That's how it goes.
You know who wrote that song?
Old Leonard did, didn't he?
Leonard, Tommy Collins, back in 1954. And that's the original cut of it. Boy, it scares you when you hear your voice being that, back that high. Sound like Bill Monroe.
We got 18 past the hour. This is the Music Country Network, and this is Chuck Morgan visiting with Faron Young. Tell me about running around with Hank Williams Sr.
Well, Hank, of course, was like a god to me, really. This guy, just to be around him. But Ray Price and I, we'd do anything for Hank, you know. And if I didn't agree with Hank on something, he'd call me Ray Price. He said, "Okay, Ray Price." And if Ray didn't do something he wanted to do, he'd call him Faron Young. And if we were just there, he'd call us boy. You know, if it was anything else, "Hey, boy, let's do this." I remember one time we were out having a few drinks, and he said, "Let's go down to Ernest Tubbs' record shop." So I got in front of that Cadillac and was driving it, and it had a little squeak in it. And I said, "This thing has got a squeak in it." He said, "Yeah, you'd like to have one that squeaked like this, wouldn't you, boy?" Because I had an old Ford I came up here in. We got down to Ernest Tubbs' record shop, and I said, "Where do you want me to park?" He said, "Pull right up there on the sidewalk." I said, "You can't." He said, "I said pull up on the sidewalk." And I did, because Hank Williams said, "You do it, you do it." The cops came up there and said, "Whose car is it?" Hank Williams? I said, "Okay, leave it there." this guy could do anything he wanted to, too, you know. He was the king. I believe if Hank was alive today, he'd still be the biggest thing in the business.
You think so?
I do. Because he was a trendsetter, even for his time. And I think people like Alabama and these guys, they'd still be wondering, how come Hank Williams is so big?
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers and all, they'd still have to look up to him. I think he just had it in him.
Let's go up to New Philadelphia, Ohio. A friend of mine's on the line, Merv Ross. Go ahead, Merv.
Well, hi, Chuck. How in the heck are you? Boy, this is a first for me.
Well, great.
First time I've been able to get through. How are you and that sheriff doing?
We're fine.
I tell you, Chuck, I'll tell all the folks out there calling, too, we're sorry about that, but this thing is lit up like a Christmas tree, and there ain't no way we can get to everybody, so just keep trying. We'll try to get through to y'all.
Hey, Sheriff.
Yeah.
This is Merv Ross, New Philadelphia, Ohio.
Hi, Merv.
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Uncommonly tolerable. Whatever that means. I learned that from Hank Williams, too.
I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks here pretty soon now up at Ponderosa Park up there at Salem.
I'm looking forward to being up there again.
Yeah, well, I think the last time we seen you was up there about, oh, my goodness, almost 7 years ago now. 6, 7 years ago since we seen you. Remember them good times we used to have up there at the old Dennison Square Theater in Cleveland?
Boy, I sure do.
I lived in Cleveland then, you know.
Is that still open?
No, it's all tore down under the gas station on the corner.
Well...
So how's everything been with you?
We've just been busy working and enjoying ourselves and getting to meet a lot of beautiful people around this whole world.
Hey, that's good. Hey, have you got any of those albums left that you're going to bring with you?
Oh, yeah, we'll bring some of them up there with us.
Well, I hope so, because I want one, Faron.
Well, you got it.
Those new albums you got out there.
We got albums and T-shirts and everything.
Well, I want one of those new ones that you done, where you done your old songs over and that. Oh, yeah, again, you know, on your own label now.
You got to remember now, the only thing I've got is old songs. I ain't made no new ones.
Oh, hey, them was the best ones, and it's a doggone shame, by golly, that you're being forgotten in all this hustle and bustle of these days of this music that they're calling country now, you know?
Well, the great thing is the fans hadn't forgot us. It's just when these record companies get back on the right track, I think you're going to see a lot of more straight country music come back your way.
Ditto, Sheriff.
You behave yourself.
Right,
we'll
Merv,
see you up there in a couple of weeks.
Merv, we appreciate...
And I'll see, hey, Chuck, how about playing his record, Loving Here and Living There and Lying in Between?
All right, we'll do that.
You do that?
Yeah.
Hey, sure, gee, it was sure nice to talk to you. And boy, this, like I say, this is the first. This is the first time I've been able to get through to you.
All right, well, thank you, Merv.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks, Sheriff.
Hey, if you don't hush, we're going to never let you get through again. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll tell everybody that you're going to be in Salem, Ohio on Sunday, September the 19th at Ponderosa Park. That's evidently a good place to play.
That is one of the better parks in the business. That Sunset is a good park. I like one thing because they've got covers over them. They got a roof over them, so if it rains, everybody don't have to go home. So that's one good thing about it.
All right, we're visiting with Faron Young on the Music Country Network. First people ever to work with Charlie Pride.
Yeah, I carried Charlie on a tour down through Texas and Louisiana with me, and people didn't know he was black.
That's a little bit different, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was, but they said, call Faron Young, he'll do anything. You know, it's like, give it to Chucky, he'll eat anything. And I carried him down there with me, and the people didn't know he was a black guy. They just knew he had snakes crawl at night out. And I'd say, and in the middle of my show, I'd put him on. He only had about 4 songs.
Did you explain anything?
I didn't tell a word to him. I said, here he is right now, Charlie Pride. And he go, yeah, and it died, stopped. And so I told him, I said, when you get out here, just start singing. Don't say nothing. And sing your song. I think he opened with Jambalaya. Because they didn't have but 2 or 3 hits that he could sing, or 1 hit. And then I give him a line. I said, just tell him that you love country music, and you're not a Black Panther. You like country music, and you like America. I said, tell him that. And I said, that'll get him to laugh. And then he got thrown another line in there about, don't be alarmed by my permanent suntan. Now, they'd break the ice with the people, naturally, you know, because this world was changing then. They'd get to laughing at him. And by the time he did his 3rd or 4th song, well, they would be screaming their heads off at Charlie Pride, and he'd leave the stage. And then I had to contend with him. They said, we want Charlie back. So I told him the next night, I said, hey, you better come out there with about 20 minutes worth of music. He said, oh, fair, and I can't. I said, you're going to do something till they get tired of you. I ain't trying to follow you. So about the 4th day of this tour, I took him backstage with the band and taught him about 3 or 4 songs. I put him on before me, way up ahead of me there, and let him see all of it Charlie could do. Then I went on and did my show. But he was killing me. He got there and steal the show from me. I learned from him. Now, but you know, he's one of them guys that don't never forget. When Charlie got big, he called me up and carried me on his road shows with me.
Yeah.
He did the same thing Elvis did, because I used to carry Elvis out on road shows, and I'd check in a hotel. I'd go see if it had 2 beds. I'd give Elvis a high sign. He'd come stay with me so I wouldn't have to pay rent. And after Elvis got big, he called me up one time. He called me the little sheriff. He said, "Little sheriff, said, I want to take you on this tour. What are you making?" Making like $1,500 a day back then. He said, "I'm going to give you $3,000. And I said, "Well, why would you do that?" He said, "Because you helped me one time."
Yeah.
And Pride did the same thing. And, you know, you get to still have a lot of love for guys like this, and Pride's still the same way.
That's good. That's great. Live fast, love hard, die young, and leave a beautiful memory. That's quite a philosophy right there.
Can you believe that somebody would record something like that? I'll tell you.
We got 26 before the hour, and this is Chuck Morgan on the Music Country Network, and we're visiting with Faron Young. And Mr. Deaton wanted me to get you to tell a story about getting Johnny Cash on the Grand Ole Opry.
It's really not all that funny. I worked with John on a tour, and he was just getting started out, and Webb Pearson seen him too. And like in 1956, we went up and talked to the powers to be at the Grand Ole Opry, and told me had this boy named Johnny Cash they needed to put on there. He had Hey Porter. And somebody said, "Well, he can't sing." And I said, "Well, I don't know if he can sing or not, but I'm going to tell you, he mesmerizes an audience. It's something he does to an audience that he just kills them for what he does." And I don't think John's a great singer. I love Johnny Cash before being a great singer, but and I don't think he thinks he is either. But we finally talked him into putting him on the Grand Ole Opry, and he encored 9 times out there. He tore him down, and all them guys were walking around shaking their head. They don't know how in the world he did it. But he still has something about him that sells him to people. It's the mystery thing about Johnny Cash.
I don't know what it is. Magic?
It's some charisma that this man has. That I'll tell you, if you really get out into the points of it, Chuck, I think it's his sincerity. He's a heart. He's like a Hank Williams.
Well, I've had people call me and say they've seen you on the road. They are very entertained by what you do on the stage. Where do you get that from? Where did you learn how to do that?
I think you steal it from everybody, don't you? Because you learn to walk by watching somebody walk. If you was born in a nation that everybody crawled, you'd crawl. You'd never get up and walk on your 2 feet. I think you borrowed from everybody. People you work with, like Hank Williams. I borrowed things from Cash, Hank Snow. One of my greatest guys, I think, was great stage president was Carl Smith. I learned a lot of stuff from Carl, especially how to read script and things. And you just develop into it. Because when I first started to sing country music, I sang just like Hank Williams. That's who I was trying to sing like. I wasn't kidding nobody. But then after listening to Marty but that's way before Marty. But after listening to George Morgan and Eddie Arnold and these guys, I developed a style where it was Faron Young. But believe me, son, when I first started, it was Hank Williams, and I made no bones about it.
Let's go to Connecticut here, and Kathy's on the line. Listen to WCTY. Go ahead, Kathy.
Hi, Chuck. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Okay, I want to ask you a Faron both question. I'll start with you first. I just wanted to know how come you don't have that many female singers on the show here.
Because there's not that many.
Not that many.
Wait a minute now.
Right.
When I started off in this business, there wasn't about 2 of them. We had Kitty Wells, we had Gene Shepard. If you pick up the Billboard today and look at your top 100, I guarantee you 50 of them are women.
But I never hear any here on the show, though.
They're all working.
They're all working, okay.
Oh, you mean why we don't play any girl singers on here? We just got through playing Loretta Lynn, and a while ago we played Jessie Coulter.
No, I mean in live, like you're on there now, Faron. I'd like to hear some more.
Oh, why they don't have the girl singers out here?
Huh?
You mean why they're not here interviewing?
Right.
I don't know, Chuck. Why don't you do that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why that is. That's not my job. I just come up here, and whoever's here, I sit down and talk to them.
Right. Well, there's about 5 or 6 that I'd really, really like to talk to. I listen to just about every show that has the man on, but I was just wondering how come there's, never any women on.
Well, the biggest trouble is, though, if you got somebody like Crystal Gale and them to come out here, they wouldn't be able to get in the studio for all of us guys coming out here to look at them.
Okay. Okay, Faron, I had a question to ask you now. I was wondering how old you were when you started in the business and how you went about getting into the business.
Professionally, I was 19 years old when I went to work with Webb Pierce. And Webb got me on the Louisiana Hayride. And from being on the Hayride, Capitol Records heard me and signed me. And after being there for about 6 to 7 months, a guy named Hugh Cherry here in Nashville, Tennessee, heard a record I put out called, it wasn't
$5.
No, it wasn't. It was back before Going Steady. It was Tattletale Tears.
Okay.
And they called me up here on a 2-week trial to the opera, and I've been up here in Nashville ever since.
Ah. Well, I've never seen you in action, so to speak. My mom and dad, weren't you at the Stepping Stone Stables a few years ago as well as this past weekend?
Yeah, I've been there the last 3 years.
Okay, well, this was, I'm going back maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Right. Tanya Tucker and I worked there about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it rained then, too.
Excuse me?
And it rained there at that time.
Did it? Well, my mom and dad were there that time. They couldn't make it this time, but they were there at your other show. I couldn't remember how many years ago it was.
Yeah, we started working for Henry up there probably 10 or 12 years ago at Stepping Stone.
Well, they said you put on one fantastic show. I like your voice. I'd like to see you in person, but it just hasn't worked out. There's a lot of people I'd like to see.
We'll meet one of these days.
Oh, eventually. There's a whole bunch of them. I got my fingers crossed before I leave this world that I'll see a lot of the singers I want to see.
Well, you're sweet. Thank you.
Well, you guys just keep it up. I tell you, if it wasn't for the country music, this world would be in bad shape.
There's a lady with a lot of sense. We love you.
Kathy, we appreciate you calling.
Okay, Chuck. Thank you.
Right, bye-bye. Farron, not only have you been involved in getting people to work for you that have went on to be big stars, you made a lot of hit records yourself, but you've been involved in the business end of this business and got a building down there on Music Row, and you've seen a lot of changes since you came to town.
I really have. With the technical parts of recording and with the different styles of music that's come along. But I tell you, I've always been a guy to invest my money. Because, you know, you never know what's going to happen. I've seen a lot of guys come in this business and make several $1 million, and next thing you know, they hadn't got a dime. I like somebody used to say the definition of a hillbilly, that he was wearing last year's clothes, driving this year's Cadillac, and spending next year's money. And that's true with a lot of people in America, I think. Because the credit cards and everything else they've done us in with. But I've always figured you better put something back, invest in something. But I invest back into the business. I try to keep a good band, a good show, and it's like running an old country store. You got to put some pork and beans back on the stage when you sell some. And I think you should keep a good first-class band, a first-class show, because the people who's buying your tickets are your bosses.
What do you do to get away from the business? What do you do to get besides golf? You know, you've been talking about golf.
Well, yeah, golf, and I fish, and I like to boat. I got a big cruiser, and I got a speedboat. But then I'm kind of a workaholic, too. When I'm around the house, I'll go out and lay concrete or cut trees or mow grass. Something to keep me busy.
You're a pretty good fisherman, though.
The fish don't know that.
Brag a little bit about your fish.
I'm really not that good a fisherman. I can go fishing with somebody like Mel Tillis and them guys fishing out of the same boat can keep catching fish, you know, and I can't get them. And Tillis said, well, what you I've got to do, you're jerking the hook out of his mouth. I said, well, if he stutters like you, no wonder I can't catch him. I said, I'm thinking fish are all stuttering. I can't get him to bite my hook, Tillis. But they catch fish when I'm sitting there beating my brains out trying to catch it.
But don't you owe some sort of record or something?
A record for not catching none. There's Billy Grammer and Porter Wagner, Jerry Reed, these guys are the fishermen. But I really am. I can get a cork and a minnow and a pole and catch crappie. But you give me a rod and reel, I can't catch nothing.
You know, I have never liked to fish with a rod and reel. I like to get the worm and the cork and the pole and go out
Hank
there.
Williams and I used to go fishing, and we did the same thing. He wouldn't fish like that. We'd get a pole and cane and fish for crappie and perch. And if Hank caught a bass, he'd throw it back in. He wouldn't fool with no bass, and I didn't care, you know. He said, after all, we're up here to relax. You know, and if a guy's paddling down the stream and fishing, and he's working himself to death, he ain't getting no relaxation.
You know, that's like with all these TV screens and depth finders you take with you now. That's for the birds.
They got it down to a science. See, but what I do, if I don't catch anything, I know I'm going to get part of what they caught anyway. Carry it home and eat.
All right, Faron Young's with us, and but I thought you had caught a big fish one time.
Oh, I caught some big fish down in Miami deep sea fishing. I got a 6-foot 10-inch sailfish, and I got a
Now that's work there, isn't it?
That was more work than I wanted. Deep sea fishing is a lot of work, especially if you're fishing on the bottom, catching amberjacks or bonitas, and if you're on top, you do have to catch a sailfish or a shark. Yeah, it's a lot of work to get him in.
Now, speaking of work, do you feel like you work when you're on stage, or is that a lot of fun for you?
No, you're not tired till you come off of a stage. Now, you can be tired of traveling, so it takes you 8-10 hours to get somewhere. And the time you clean up the hotel and get over, you're a little tired. But once they say, here he is, Faron Young, and they start clapping, for some reason, it's like having a headache. It goes away for that hour you're on stage. Then when you walk off and you're perspiring and people come up and get your autograph, when it's all over with, you get in that bus and fall down and says, Lord, I'm tired. I didn't realize I'd worked that hard. But you don't while you're on stage. Just your adrenaline gets to going. I think that's true with any entertainer. Yeah. He's on stage, they forget all about headaches, toe aches, back aches, and all when that audience is out there. It's like making motion pictures. You can have a headache and they'll turn the camera on your motion picture. Your headache won't go away because you're working that camera. But if it's live audience for #1 records, I got a lot of records from people who sang and also were songwriters like Willie Nelson. And
did Paycheck do harmony with you on Face to the Wall?
No, it was Daryl McCall.
Daryl.
Uh-huh.
I know both of them. They're both crazy.
Now, you never could keep Paycheck straight enough, long enough to record, and still can't.
Right.
No, I'm only kidding with you. I love him.
Do you still have the club there in Nashville?
No, I got rid of that. That was one of those headaches Chuck was asking me a while ago. I had time to try to run a newspaper and all that. I didn't have time to fool with that club, so I got rid of it.
All righty. Thanks for the time, and I'm enjoying the show, Chuck.
Take care.
Thank you, Bill. Bye-bye. Faron, how many dates you like to work a year?
We go out and work about 120 dates a year. Now, see, it's not like it was in the old days. We used to go out in a car and a wagon, and we'd stay gone 50 and 60 days at a time. In fact, my first 2 children grew up without me because I stayed on that road beating my brains out. And we didn't make no money. We had to stay out there before we got enough before we come back in. But my oldest boy is 27, my other boy is 25. But these last 2 children, 16 and 13, I've been with them. But I won't work that much anymore either. And like I say, I've invested. But the reason I work as much as I really work is I love it. But another reason is to keep my band.
Yeah. I
have a lot of mouths to feed. And some of these guys have been with me for 20 years, like my drummer, Jerry Hunt, and his guy. And I really have to work I would work half as much if I didn't have a band. I got to work, if I work 12 days a month, 6 of them it takes to pay expenses to pay the band. Then the other 2 days you have to pay Billy Deaton with.
Yeah, he was back there waving his hand.
Yeah, and the other 4 days my wife uses to decorate the house.
Decorate the house. Let's go to Indianapolis, Indiana. Norma's on the line. Go ahead, Norma.
Yeah. Hey, Faron?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you bring the album out? Talk about hits.
Wow. I've had two of those same type albums. One of them was a Capitol record, which went back and got old. Yeah, that was some of the old hits I cut for Capitol. Then I did one for Mercury Records, so there's on 2 different labels.
Yeah, I got one on Mercury also.
Talk About Hits is on Capitol. You're right. That was back in the 50s.
And then what year?
Back in the 50s, I think.
The 50s.
Yeah, after 30 years of this stuff, it's hard to remember.
Yeah, it looks like you're about 21 on the album. And for the Tennessee Waltz and Bouquet of Roses and Hey Good Lookin' and...
Those were in the 50s. You're right, because those weren't my hits. I should have... I was thinking everybody else's hits. I should have called myself Boxcar Willie back then. I'd have been fabulous.
Okay. Well, I'd call in early on things, and I'd like to know if you can remember when you were, I don't know, in Springfield, Missouri, or Akron, Ohio, and...
well, that's a long way apart. Make your mind up.
Well, my husband said Springfield, Missouri, but I said it was Akron, Ohio. When you went to a bar and signed some autographs, and you didn't have your pictures, and you didn't have a ballpoint pen, and a truck driver handed you one that had a light in it.
Give me a piano with a light in it?
No, a ballpoint pen.
Oh, a pen with a light in it.
Yeah.
Well, the only pen I remember a truck driver giving me, you turned upside down, it had a naked woman in it.
No. This one had a...
Oh, had a light in it.
It had a light.
I'm only kidding with you.
I know it. Okay, do you remember that, using this pen and with a light in it to sign autographs?
No. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember all that.
Okay. You started putting it in your pocket, and my husband said no. That was a gift from my wife.
Oh, I didn't get to steal it then.
Nope. And I didn't get a picture either.
Oh, well, see, if you gave me the pen, I'd have got you a picture.
Not necessarily.
All right, Norma, we appreciate you calling.
Uh-huh.
All right, thank you. All right, that's our guest, Faron Young, and I'd just be fool enough. You like to listen to yourself sing?
No, I was going to tell you where this song comes
from.
This kid is a paraplegic. He came up to Nashville one time. He rode him out on stage, and he sang some song. Fantastic singer. He lives in Arkansas now. I think he's got a big chicken ranch down there. Not the same one Dolly Parton made the movie about either. But he wrote Singing the Blues for Marty Robbins, and Knee Deep in the Blues he wrote. He's a great songwriter, and he also wrote this song. Okay. So there you are. And he had a couple big hits himself on Columbia. Then he kind of just went in retirement on his own, because it was back then it was so much trouble for him to travel and being in a wheelchair and all. Now, I talked to him about 6 months ago on the phone.
Now, as I ask you, do you like to listen to yourself sing?
You know, the only time I like to hear myself is if it's new and I'm trying to sit home and listen to it for the first few times. But once I get it down, I don't care nothing about it. And another thing you'll find out is, like when you cut a record like 4 in the morning or something, the more you sing it on the road, the more you wish you would have sung it different on the record. You get to know it, you get more familiar with what you're doing with it, and you wish you had known it better. And probably you wouldn't do it as good. But for some reason.
That's what we talk about. We were talking with Owen Bradley last night about some of the older records, how they sound fine to me, and
yeah, they scare us. Now, when I was a kid, when first had my first records out, if I was driving down the street in my car and it come on, I'd park.
Yeah.
And turn the radio up and listen to it. I said, boy, that's me. That's me. I can't believe I'm on the radio. And now, the only thing you'll listen to a couple of times is a new record. You'll see what it sounds like coming over the radio, and then you don't really pay much attention to it anymore.
What about this TV special? Will you watch yourself on TV?
Yeah, that's something you do just for self, so you can criticize yourself. You can see what you should have done or didn't do. And I watch myself on TV, but I won't watch a show 2 or 3 times. Like I don't like to go see a movie, same movie by anybody else 3 or 4 times. So once or twice is enough, but you do it to look at yourself for self-criticism, see what you could have done better with it.
You going to be making some records here before long?
I hope to. I had a thing worked out, the whole deal signed, sealed, and delivered, and the record company's fixing to get sold. So that deal's over with. And it was the only thing I was really interested in. There's about 20, 25 labels here in Nashville right now that I could sign with, but I still don't think it's the right thing for Faron Young to do, because I don't think they got the distribution. I don't think they've got the know-how to do it right now. But if I get with the right label and the right people that will work with me, I'll go and record tomorrow. But it's just like somebody working, if they hate their job, go find another one. And instead, if you don't like the record company, don't go sing for them. And
you think you're going to do something with Willie here before long?
Well, Willie and I have talked about this. At first we was going to do it on Lone Star Records, which he owned. And then he and his partner had some differences over that label, so we let that drop. And I said, well, what label do you want to do them on? At that time I was on MCA. He said, it don't matter. So we'll do them on any label, because he has a deal with his record company. He can do anything he wants to. And then right after that I got off MCA, so I'm not on the label. But Willie said, we'll do it and put it on my label. It don't matter. So we will do something.
And I want to tell everybody you're going to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on the 12th. 17th in Bowling Green, Kentucky, the 19th in Salem, Ohio, the 22nd up in Canada. You're going to spend a little time up in Canada.
Yeah, Willie told me, I said, what songs did you want to sing? He said, well, just bring along some of your old hits, like Congratulations and Hello Walls. And he started naming off all the songs.
Things he'd written.
3 days. So I've recorded about 8 or 9 of his songs. He named every one of them off. I said, well, what about me? Can we use any of mine?
Let me take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. From Nashville, this is Chuck Morgan on the Music Country Network.
I tried to break the habit, but somehow I keep waking up alone.
The worst you ever gave me was the best I ever had. That's Faron Young on the Music Country Network. It's 9 minutes past the hour. If you want to talk to us around the nation, 1-800-251-9600 in Tennessee. You can call us at 1-800-322-9818. We're not keeping you up or anything, are we?
No, I'm a night person.
That's what I wondered. I've heard stories. I get people like Chet Atkins up here. Chet goes to bed at 9 o'clock, sometimes 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I thought country music people stayed up all night long.
I go home and listen to the radio and lay there, and if somebody turns it off, I'll wake up. And the same thing with television. I'm watching, I go to sleep, they turn it off, I'll wake up. I said, leave that on. I was watching that program.
All right, you said you're not afraid to say anything. Let's find out. What do you think's wrong with country music right now?
I think the biggest thing wrong with it ain't country. They're getting all these people and calling it country music, and it's not country.
What do you think needs to happen?
Well, there's people like Ricky Skaggs, that's country music. But some of these characters come along ain't country, don't kid me. They call it progressive country if they want to, but it ain't country music. And you cannot, just like that record of mine just now played, I didn't cut it to intentionally be a country record, and they put an orchestra behind it. But to me, that took it out of the country vein as soon as they did it. But I was trying to get a crossover record in Popville with it, and was going to plan on releasing it that way. We didn't, so we just threw it in an album. But I don't think it's country anymore. I mean,
what do you think needs to happen?
Get back to the basics of them twin fiddles. When I cut again, that's the way I'm going to cut.
You put some twin fiddles on there.
The twin fiddle. Now, it's all right to put, some violins and stuff like Ray Price and that. You can still call that country, but you can't put a 70-piece orchestra behind somebody and sing some way out on the wall song and call it country music.
Well, there's a lot of good songs that I think they just overproduce.
Oh, that's a great thing. I wish I'd have said it. They are overproduced. You take a good song, go in, and before your producer gets through with it, it sounds like the Philharmonic Orchestra, and the song and the singer is covered up. It's no more theirs. I've seen them cut records on me, and they didn't like the drummer. They'd go in and get all 10 sides and put a new drummer on it to get a sound to it. I don't understand that. I know it does take a whole ball of wax to get a hit record. You got to have the song, the singer, and the musicians to get it down. It takes the three things to do it, but I think sometimes they nullify the other two by doing one thing too wrong with it. But you got people that are hung on right now on things, because you take like Barbara Mandrell, who's worked all of her life, and to me is one of the greatest people in this world and one of the greatest entertainers in this industry. But she's kind of hung between a rock and a hard place, because she's appealing to some people who don't like country music. So she has to cut some records that appeal over in that market, because you're looking at this girl's making an extra $1 million a year selling records over in that market. So I can't knock her for cutting a record and to sell it in that market, but I can knock the country industry for calling it country.
Yeah.
Because I don't think even Barbara calls them country. Same thing with Kenny, Kenny does some country records. You know that, what's that song about the big hit Kenny had?
Lucille,
that's country. But some of the stuff he cuts isn't country, so I don't think it should be classified. But again, they are appealing to a mass audience, which Faron Young can't get to, and say Jimmy Dickens can't get to. So they have to do this thing. But a lot of these radio stations now are playing the top 20 songs,
and that's it.
And nobody else ever gets heard anymore. And that's kind of crazy. That's another thing wrong with the industry. Trying to work and you go in and play the top 20 songs and never expect anybody else to come along. The great thing in my day was to watch the people come in like the Haggers and Rodriguez and all these boys who came in over those years. People call it competition. It's not. The more of them we had, the bigger this business got. But they gonna carry it out the back door. I just believe if Frank Sinatra cut a country music song, they'd vote him CMA Singer of the Year. And I think that's crazy.
Well, I'm not gonna vote for him.
No, but I guarantee you they'd have him nominated.
Now, we can always count on you for a good country record then.
Yeah, and sometimes, like I say, I tried to get some crossover records. Back in the rock and roll days, I tried to get a rock and roll song. But I never did.
Well, me and my baby, her going steady. We ain't married, but we're getting ready to tie.
That's our guest, Faron Young, and that's called Going Steady. You sound a lot like old Hank on that.
Boy, I swear, I didn't know you was going to play that record. They'd kill me to hear them old records.
Nah, it doesn't either. That's good stuff.
I was telling you while that was playing in 1952, that was considered a fast song. People jitterbugged that song back then.
Jitterbug to that.
Now it's not even a good ballad, is it? It's a slow. I really thought I was singing fast. You know where I got that idea?
No.
I got it out of a movie magazine. Talk about young couples going steady. And we wrote it on the road. I was working with Hank Snow. So Sleepy McDaniels and Tommy Vade and some of the guys all helped put lines in that song. And we come back in and recorded it. And after it came out and hit, Fred Rose called me up. I don't know, Audrey Williams had got the idea that Hank wrote that song because it sounded so much like his writing. And he called me up and said, son, I just want to ask you a question. Did Hank Williams write that song or did you? And I said, no, sir, I wrote it. And I can tell you who's with me when I did. He said, you don't have to tell me nothing. I just wanted to hear you say it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. But they thought Hank wrote it.
They thought Hank wrote it.
Well, Hank wouldn't have gave it to me anyway if he'd have wrote it. Because Hank, so he was great at this. He'd bring me a tune, and I said, oh, yeah, I love it. I'll record it. He said, I'll get you a tape on it. Great. He figured it's pretty good. I'll cut it myself. So he kind of used us for a barometer.
Yeah. Let's go to the telephone here for Faron Young. We go to Marion, Illinois, and Nevada's on the line. Go ahead, Nevada.
Hi, Chuck. How are you tonight?
I'm fine.
Sounding good. I just wanted to say hello to Faron.
Thank you. Were you Marion, Illinois?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I had moved in 1970 from Chicago to Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
Some friends asked me if I would go to the concert with them, and I was anticipating their Phoenix version of the Philharmonic, and I get there, and I got all gussied up, and I get there, and everyone is in this huge auditorium in blue jeans and Western gear, and you were the concert.
Boy, I love you.
You had Charlie Pride, and it was a baptismal of fire because I hadn't known too much about country music, and he must have received 10 standing ovations that night. And I didn't know the man, and I thought, my goodness, this is something wonderful. And now I try to catch you every chance I can.
Well, you're very, very kind. Isn't it beautiful, though, to see those people out through Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona with those blue jeans on?
Oh, my goodness. But thousands of them, and they would all stand as one and give you all standing ovations, and I didn't know from who you were, but I knew that you were loved. And now we even catch you on Classic Country and love you a whole lot.
Yeah, I just made that Classic Country show. We just made those about 4 years ago.
I can believe it. It's about the same time I was in kindergarten.
Yeah, that's about it. That's the same time, yeah.
But we love you.
Thank you.
We appreciate
good work.
Thank you. Let's go to Houma, Louisiana, and Tommy's on the line. Go ahead, Tommy.
Hello, Mr. Young.
What's happening down there in Houma?
Nothing much. How are you doing?
I got a brother lives down there with you.
Who's that?
Boy named of Ray Young. He lives in New Iberia.
Yeah, I know Ray.
Yeah. How's he
I
doing?
believe I'm talking to Faron Young.
Whatever's left of him. I'm a Shreveport, Louisiana boy.
I know that. I got cousin and uncle in the music business, and I know they know you very well.
My brother was up here about 2 months ago, come up and spent about a week with us. It was his first time. He went to Opryland and everything else. The World's Fair, they had a good time.
I'll be doggone. It is you know my uncle Jerry and my cousin Mickey, don't you?
I don't. What's their last name?
One's Gilly and the other's Lewis.
Oh, what are you trying to be smart?
Huh?
Are you trying to be smart? You know I know them.
I know you don't. I just thought I'd catch you with it.
Are they your kin people?
Yes, sir, they are.
Well, you must be kin to Swaggart, too.
Yeah, our family goes from one extreme to the other.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Huh?
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I met you once before. I know you don't remember me. When you were selling,
You're not the guy that gave...
Or BCs.
You're not the guy that gave me that pen with a light in it, are you?
I beg your pardon?
No, nothing. That's an old joke.
Okay, remember when you were selling sandbags or BCs?
BCs.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was many, many years ago.
I made a lot of money with that commercial. I wish they'd come back and let me do another one.
Thanks, give you that, bad. When do you think you're going to go back on label?
I don't know. We're looking around at a few things. I'm just going to take my time. I'll tell you, next time I'm down there, will you bring me some gumbo?
Gumbo?
Yeah.
I can make it. No, if nobody can make it, I can make it.
And Bodine.
No, not Bodine. You talk about, no, I can't even talk. I'm talking to a celebrity, I can't even talk.
I thought they called it Bodine or Boudin.
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 You want the white or the red?
Oh, the red.
Where you want me to ship it to?
No, I'm only kidding. Will you save it till I get there?
Okay. Will you do me a favor?
Okay.
You send me an autographed picture of you?
Sure I will.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Tommy. We'll have Faron give out an address in just a moment, a place you can write to, okay?
Hey, wait a minute. I did that one time on this station.
Well, it'll be all right.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Young?
Yes, sir.
I sure enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Never night like I did tonight.
Tell all those people down in Louisiana, my home state, hello. We love them. And somebody get behind them New Orleans Saints and give them a boost.
They need it. They need something.
Give them some help. Give old Bum Phillips some help. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Tommy. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, and Charles is on the line listening to WPLO. Go ahead, Charles.
Yes. Hi, Chuck. Hi, Faron.
Hello, WPLO. That's the big one in Atlanta.
Oh, you got it. You probably remember back in the old days when it was called WAGA.
That's right. I sure do. It used to be over on the college campus, I think, back then.
Right.
Over to Georgia Tech. I was in the Army in Atlanta, you know.
Right. You were stationed at Fort Mac back in 1953.
That was good. That's back when Atlanta was a little bitty nice town. It's got too big.
Oh, I'm telling you. Do you remember some of the nights you would be off and come down on Baker Street at the Joe Cotton's Rhythm Ranch?
I sure do. Jerry Reed and I were talking about that the other day.
Oh, really?
Right.
Well, I was playing steel guitar during that period.
Oh, yeah.
There's a group called Las Vegas 7. In fact, Bill Drake was playing guitar with us.
And Pete Drake was down there, too.
Right. Pete Drake was just learning to play steel guitar during that period.
He's still working on it.
Oh,
I
hope he's not listening.
Nah, he loves me. He knows I'm kidding.
Yeah, I saw him about a month or two ago. I spent the night with him. He was recording B.J. Thomas.
He's done real well for himself. That's a good Georgia boy. Made it good.
He's come a long way.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for calling us. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, same here, Faron.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Louisville, Kentucky for Faron Young and Linda on the line listening to WAMZ. Go ahead, Linda.
Well, hello.
I'm lying here with Linda on my... Oh, that's Conway, pardon me.
I am just thrilled, really, just to talk to you.
Well, I'm thrilled to talk to you. How old are you?
Oh, well...
What's your measurements?
Let's put it this way. I'm a grandmother at 34.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
Well, you know, I'm 50 and I'm not a granddaddy yet. I don't know what's wrong with my children.
Oh, I don't know. I've got a 19-year-old daughter that decided I should be a grandmother.
You must be kin to Loretta Lynn.
Well, we come from about the same area.
Did you?
Yeah.
Loretta was a grandma when she was about 34, I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's nothing like it.
Must not be. You girls start young up in that country.
Well, yeah. You've got to find the right person first.
Well, that works out good, though. You have a good life and you're in love, and that's proof of it.
Oh, yeah. I heard you a while ago when you said that country music really wasn't country right now.
I don't think a lot of it is, and I'm guilty, too. When I cut one and it's got a bunch of orchestra on it, I don't call it country either.
I agree with you. We need more songs like the old singers. Really, they're not old singers, but they call them that.
Yeah, we're old singers. You got that right, but we got some new boys like Ricky Skaggs, some of them easing in there getting it back for us.
They're coming along, but there's too much, like,
hush, don't say
orchestras and stuff in there.
You behave yourself.
Huh?
Take care of them grandchildren.
Thank you.
I will.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Grandma.
honey.
We appreciate you calling. Bye-bye. Farron, you don't know where C.W. McCall is, do you?
C.W. McCall.
I think
where is he?
I think he's back up in Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. That's where he's originally from. His real name was Bill Freeze.
Bill Freeze, yeah.
And that's how you got to start doing bread commercials up there.
Yeah. Had that real low voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where he's at.
I think he's back up in Iowa making radio commercials or something like that. We're visiting with Faron Young on the Music Country Network, and if you want to talk with us around the nation, it's 1-800-251-9600. And in Tennessee, you can call us at 1-800-322-9818. Farron's going to be with us here a while because he doesn't want to go home because his wife's telling him that the bathroom and the kitchen and the living room and the bedrooms are going to be peach. So,
decorated, you're right.
Stay with us. Live from Nashville, Chuck Morgan on the Music Country Network. How did you propose to your wife?
Been a long time ago, hadn't it? Now, my wife and I started going together when I was in Atlanta, Georgia. And her mom and dad, he was an army man. They got shipped to Leghorn, Italy. And, of course, I started writing, and I wrote more letters to her. Oh, I was lovesick. And I finally talked them into letting her come back, and I had to line up this warrant officer and his wife for her to stay with till we got married. And she came back. We got married while I was in the service. She was 17 years old. That was over 28 years ago.
I want to know how you proposed to her.
I just wrote her the letter. I don't believe I could have got on my knee and did it, but I wrote a letter and said I want to marry you, and then I wrote her folks. Oh, I wrote her more letters. You want? She don't have them anymore. Thank God. She burned them because they lived in Leghorn, Italy, and they had a stove to keep themselves warm. They used to use my letters to light the fire with,
warm.
And I'm happy.
You trying to light a fire and they lighting theirs over there?
They used it, but I'm glad she don't have them no more to hold over my head.
The reason
I hate to read some of that syrupy stuff I wrote.
I bet it was good.
Oh, boy. Love sick. Couldn't live without her, you know. Boy, I really couldn't. I really can't live without her. She's the most important thing in my life.
Well, the reason I asked that is because we had a proposal of marriage over the air last night.
Yeah, I heard Janie Fricky and Randy.
Randy Jackson called up, and he said, put me on the air, and I'm going to propose to Janie.
This is a first, isn't it?
It was a first over network radio, and she blushed, and a few tears came out, and we went and got some bubbly so she'd feel at home.
Well, that beats what Buck Owens did. He was out putting those signs up all around L.A., yeah.
Advertising.
Said, I love you, come back. He was in love with Jana Jane, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he sent a truckload of roses, and then she had him put on her peace bond, stay away from him. You know, nobody wants to marry Buck, as ugly as he is. He is one of the ugliest humans in the world, Buck Owens.
You say anything, won't you?
Now, if you're as ugly as Buck, you got to advertise. But I don't know. I love Buck Owens. I'm telling you why he did that was for publicity. He put himself in that Lonely Hearts Club and everything.
Yeah.
But I tell you, when Buck's doing something, he's making $1 at it. I guarantee he is.
Let's go to the telephone before Buck Owens calls us. Let's go to
I wish he would.
Lubbock, Texas. Steve's on the line listening to KFYO. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, Chuck, I failed to mention to the young lady, I'm one of the announcers over here at KFYO, and I don't know whether or not, Faron, I don't know if you remember this or not. I was playing with a house band in Abilene, Texas about 8 years ago, and we fronted your show there. And you were talking a few minutes ago about everything is gone to progressive country. And I believe that the club that you played at that night up there in Abilene was when you played there that night was we had one of the biggest crowds that we had ever had there since the manager of that club had opened it. So that just goes to show you that country music, your type of country music, and country music is still on its way. And there's been a breaking point, but I think it will all come back again. But you put on a fine job, a fine show that night, and we're very proud of you.
Well,
and then, second of all, I wanted to tell you that we have more Faron Young records in our bend here at KFYO in Lubbock, and we get more requests for your songs, and we also get a lot of requests, people asking when you're going to come to Lubbock because they just really love your music.
Lubbock, Texas is a great place, but I played that Cotton Club there several times. It's gone again, isn't it?
No, sir, it's still going strong.
Oh, is it?
Matter of fact,
isn't this the third one of them?
Going strong, and they still have bands out there, and they have dances and stuff. That's one thing that we don't do in Lubbock, Texas. We don't shut down what we would call a family tradition up here.
No, I think about it burned up about 3 different times, though, didn't it?
Yes, sir. They've had 2 or 3 fires, but they always rebuild it and remodel it, and it's still going strong. As a matter of fact, people like Joey Ely come up here during the Buddy Holly Memorial Day and Memorial Month. We always have all kinds of dances out there. As a matter of fact, we're going to be celebrating Buddy Holly's birthday coming up here this next week. It's the 7th.
That's right. Y'all have a big celebration there, don't you?
You bet. And it's fantastic. But we have a lot of requests from folks around Lubbock and around the surrounding area that want to know when Faron Young is coming back to Lubbock because they miss you and they love your kind of music. And I might mention one more thing to you, and I know that there's other people trying to call. I was at the disc jockey convention about 5 years ago, and Bill Bailey from Keir had won disc jockey of the year, and he got up and made a speech, and I don't remember the whole speech, but I do remember the last words out of his mouth was he told the jocks around the country that were sitting in that dining hall that day to hang on to the Roy Acuff records and the Faron Young records because they were coming back, they were still going strong. And that's exactly what we've done here in Lubbock, Texas, and we love you very much, and we look forward to seeing you. And if you come through, stop by, and we'll buy you a cup of coffee.
You've got a deal. I don't know why I hadn't been in Lubbock lately. I've been all around you, Amarillo, Abilene, you name it. We'll get back in there to see all you Hey, and you made my night. Thank you.
Thank you, Farron. Have a good evening.
Steve, if you would, call us sometime next week about the Buddy Holly celebration, okay?
Okay, we sure will. Chuck, we got a big celebration going on up here. As a matter of fact, this coming Thursday night. As a matter of fact, Chuck, we've got some people who is a detective from Scotland Yard. We get people all the way from England up here. As a matter of fact, we had a call today that these folks are back, and they come up here every year, and we just get all sorts of folks from all over the country that remember Buddy Holly, and we always put on a big celebration, and it's a big affair up here. We're really proud of it.
All right, we appreciate you calling.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
That's Steve Langston at KFYO in Lubbock, Texas. We got 20 minutes before the hour. Let's go to Jackson, Mississippi, and Vicki Polk listening to WXLY in Jackson. Go ahead, Vicki.
Well, good evening, Farron. How are you?
I'm great. How's Jackson doing?
Jackson is still here.
That's a good town.
I just wanted to let you know, you were talking about putting country back to country. There's a place about 15 miles from Jackson. A man from Pearl has built an entertainment park, and he is really into bluegrass and the good country. You know, the progressive country is fine, but people like myself and a lot of people around here really crave country like your country and Ernest Tubb and people like that. And he's bringing Ernest Tubb here the 11th, and he's having people like Wilma Lee Cooper, and I really wish that you could come down here and enjoy it with us. We really crave.
Well, I love you for telling me that. I tell you, one of the main reasons I don't listen to radio much anymore is because I was talking about they play the top 20. I'd get tired of listening to radio and not hearing Ernest Tubb or Hank Snow or Bill Monroe. That's the reason I don't listen to radio. I can't hear none of that good country music, and it burns me up.
You are absolutely right.
You tell that fellow at that park, we'll come down there and work next year.
Well, I certainly will. Now, Farron, when are you coming back to San Diego?
Oh, it's been a long time since I've been to San Diego.
About 5 or 6 years ago, you was at the Alamo.
Right. I don't know what's happened with the West Coast, that we hadn't been out there in a long time. In fact, I bet if you confirm me, there a lot of the artists haven't been coming to the West Coast, have they?
Yeah, well, Merle Haggard was here about a month and a half ago.
If the clubs that we used to work up and down there, a lot of them are not there, and a lot of them will not pay you enough money to come from here to California to work them.
Oh, really?
So we stop off in Texas and get all that oil money.
In fact, the Alamo isn't in country anymore.
Oh, it isn't?
No, I haven't been out there for a long time because it turned disco.
What is country out there now?
Oh, the Mustang Club.
Yeah, I remember that one. Is the Western Club still there?
Yeah. It'll always be there.
Yeah. I've worked it.
It's in National City.
Yeah, that's right, National City. I also worked the Navy base there at the Chiefs Club a few times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
When do you have a new album coming out?
I don't have any records coming out right now. We're going to make some here before long if we can get the right kind of deal with a record company.
Okay, well, I just wanted to find out when you're coming. Wish you'd come back. You put on a good show.
I love you. What's your weather like out there?
It's beautiful, but kind of humid.
Is it? Well, it's raining here. It's real humid. About 6 inches worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we really getting the rain here in Tennessee.
Well, it's about 90 today.
We're lucky. We're in the, 80s?
Yeah, 80s, not too bad. A little humid, though.
And Sunday I was up there and it was 46 degrees. So who knows? That's the reason we all stay half dead, I believe.
Wanda, we appreciate you calling.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, baby. Bye-bye.
Take care. I got to mention something. I've had a couple of calls from some people wanting to know about Bill Golden, if he is leaving the Oak Ridge Boys. As I mentioned the other night, I got an invite to a press briefing. And, you know, a couple of weeks ago, they were talking that maybe he was leaving the group. But I don't know. The press briefing's not till Wednesday night, so we'll find out Wednesday night.
Well, you don't know why or when or what?
No. We don't know what the press conference is about.
Oh.
So we'll find out Wednesday night.
Well, I guess I'll get with Golden and we'll start another group. I'll make a comeback one way or the other. It's either Willie Nelson or you, Golden.
Farron, how do you feel about being elected to the Country Music Hall of Fame? Someday I see that for you.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if they'll ever elect me to it. I've been in the business along with a bunch of guys that are in it. And I know some of them in it don't think it was time enough for them to go in. I'm glad to see them in there, like Johnny Cash. Johnny said he didn't think it was time for him to go in. And I agree with him. He hadn't been around long enough. There's a lot of guys ahead of him I think ought to have been in there before him. But Webb Pierce told me one day about being in the Hall of Fame. You know, Webb Pierce had like 29 number one records, and he was one of the biggest stars there ever was. And he said, I don't know what my chances are. He said, but I don't care. He said, you either got to be so old you can't move or dead before they put you in it. He said, so he was no big hurry to go into the Country Music Hall of Fame. But of course, you know that anybody, he's kidding. Yeah. It would be an honor to any of us. This is 31 years for me, so I figured probably another 25, 30 years I'll make it.
I see that for you someday. We got 10 minutes before the hour. Got a brand new record we want to play right now. This is by Ricky Skaggs, and it's called...
This is a hit, too.
It's called Heartbroke.
I love that instrumental on it.
Oh, I like it, too. That's Ricky Skaggs. That's called Heartbroke. Let's go out to Omaha right now, and hello.
You will.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Faron, I'm about out of time here. Let me remind everybody about this television special you're going to be on, the Jerry Reed TV special, and a whole bunch of folks on there.
A whole bunch of Brenda Lee and the Statler brothers and Jimmy Dean.
Y'all just get out there and have a big picnic.
It was a ball. I wish all the shows we could do were like that, because it was a picnic. We really had a great time, and Jerry Reed was fantastic. Everybody in there did a great job.
And then, let's see.
It should win the special of the year, I think.
And that'll air here in Nashville on what date?
The 14th of September.
Okay, and then...
You'll just have to watch for it in their neighborhoods out there that people listen to us when they come in.
Local TV listings for the time and station in your area. And on let me take a break, and we'll come back and read Faron's show dates here. It'll be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on Sunday, September the 12th. You got anything before the 12th of September?
Yeah, but I don't know where. But we do.
I know you're going to the World's Fair just for a little fun.
Yeah, we're going over there for a couple of days, and I think, and see that. The last World Fair I was here was at Seattle, Washington, which I went to.
You went out there?
Oh, yeah.
You work out there or just go out to see it?
Well, I worked the Opera House at the World's Fairgrounds.
Oh, okay. The 17th of September, you'll be in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The 19th of September in Salem, Ohio. And then Wednesday, September the 22nd, Mr. Deaton sending you up to Canada for about 3 or 4 days.
We will take the underwear with us up there, the long handles, I guarantee you. It does get chilly.
I imagine it would. Why didn't he send you up there in the summertime?
Have you ever seen a booker do that? They send you to Florida in the summer. Then you go to Canada when it's 45 below zero. They never fail. But, you know, you can't work Canada during the warm days because the harvest season's up there and they're wheat and everything.
They're all busy.
And they work 24 hours a day, so they ain't no use you going up there during that season. You got to go up there when it's real cold. They'll come see you.
Faron, I want to tell you what a pleasure it's been to have you here with us, and you're welcome to come out and visit with us anytime.
Chuck, I had a good time. I wish I'd have came sooner. I definitely will come back real soon. And to all you beautiful people that's called, I'm sorry about the ones I didn't get to talk to, and I'm very pleased with the ones I did get to talk to. I touched base with some old friends, and God bless you. Y'all take care, and the next time I'm here, you that I didn't get to talk to, call us back. We'll talk to you next trip.
All right. And like I say, not only one of the greats in making country records, but also helping people out and being kind to the business.
I had a lot of help, too, Chuck.
All right. Faron Young, everybody. Al Rison's coming along in just a few moments, and if you want to talk to Al and make a request, 1-800-251-9600 around the nation. And in Tennessee, you can call us at 1-800-322-9818. From Music City, USA, this is Chuck Morgan on the Music Country Network.